So, this came out at a time at the peak of my 80s movie fandom, summer of 84. I was 10, and I loved the hell out of this movie when I was 10. It was, Spielberg made this movie for me. It was perfect. And I still think, like you said, Sam, the first 18, 19 minutes of this movie are perfect, pretty much. I love that opening scene. I would actually, I'll be honest, I wish this movie was about Indy's adventures with the Chinese mafia. I could have stayed in Shanghai and learning about Lao Che and his adventures there. I want to know more about that.
How funny was it when he got on the freight plane, Lao Che's freight?
Well, I'm going to get
great. Yeah.
I love that scene, but it kind of, there's one thing that bothers me though, and I'll get into about the humor in this movie, in the writing of this, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. But as the years have gone on, Temple of Doom has increasingly become a very difficult viewing experience for me. I guess I'll say I'm not here to completely trash this movie. There are a lot of things I'll praise. Like I said, the opening's perfect. It starts off with that vibrant homage to the Busby Berkeley musicals from the 30s, 40s. That splashy dance number, I love that.
Yeah.
Opening set piece. It's my favorite part of this movie. Pitting Indy, Lao Che against each other. The interaction combined with the blocking of that, the directing, the editing, the score while they're doing the Lazy Susan back and forth. So
yeah,
it's chef's kiss. It is.
The champagne pork, the ice with the
everything.
diamond.
The way that is edited together, it's just perfection. But it leads to that Marx Brothers-esque shenanigans, and it's a great blend of humor and action. It is Spielberg firing in all cylinders in that scene. And I really do love it. But it's also an indication of the type of humor and kind of the ventures into lowbrow territory that is just not vibing with me the way it used to. And it's kind of lacking kind of the wit and the subtlety of the first film. But conversely, Willie Scott, the leading lady, for me, the leading lady is a major drawback for me. Her character, I'm actually kind of surprised how much Team Willie there is here, because I find her, she is the audience surrogate, but damn, the character, I don't know. I found her to be very underdeveloped, and you did bring up some good points that did make me think a little bit more. She does have some agency in this toward the end where she is helping Indy out, and I really didn't think about it as much, but she is so poorly written. The stuff that comes out of her mouth, it's just eeks and ahs for the most part, but we don't really get to know her. She doesn't share anything about who she is throughout this movie. There's one moment where she says something about, she has an opinion about my father, my uncle was a magician or a trickster or something like that, and he ended up penniless. That's the one time in this whole movie she says something that is aha, she's bringing up something from her past. Visually, this film is so heavily reliant on sound stages, and that is also contributing to this claustrophobic and dark atmosphere. I know this movie is underground and all that, but whereas Raiders was so set in these vibrant location-based settings, much of this film takes place underground, and with that combined with that, it's got that dim lighting and these visually monotonous. It creates this visually monotonous experience, is what I'm trying to say. And with so many few outdoor scenes, and a few of them were shot in Sri Lanka, but it really doesn't offer that much relief. So it just felt really. It felt just like it was all on sound stages, and I just did not feel like we went anywhere. I did not like. You mentioned David Lean as a great reference, Sam, for the first film, and I felt like I was never really was outside this movie, and it wasn't pleasurable. I have more to say.
Are you hating this compared to Raiders, or are you hating this as a standalone thing? Do you think that Raiders of the Lost Ark is causing you to hate this more than you should?
I can't not compare it to Raiders, but I think it's also it felt cheap because of that.
It did felt like Power Rangers-y.
And there's more to say about this, but in summary, there's a lot of great moments. The action is so well directed in this, and brilliant. A lot of moments of brilliance, nostalgia here, but it really struggles with the tonal inconsistencies. I don't like the slapstick humor. Uh, it may have been the film that the public wanted in 1984, and hey, I was there for it. But in retrospect, I still think this is one of Spielberg's worst in his catalog. So, yeah.
What's your star rating?
I'm giving it a 2.5.